Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon. January 31st, we're looking at Window Traders Market Profile of the ES&NQ. This video will probably be a bit longer than we've seen recently for a couple of reasons. I haven't done a recap in 2 weeks. I haven't been here the last prior 2 Fridays. A lot going on. We want to see what the landscape looks like on our charts going into the month of February as January is in the books. Very interesting day today. Good range. Still light volume. Again, I'm sure there'll be people putting out the debt certificate for the bulls. But remember, there's a lot of balance going on. We'll go over all that. I want to talk about a lot of things. First, let's start with righty. So righty ends up with an outside day down, okay, after I thought they had a chance to put the daily up coming out of balance. Instead, they had an outside day down and a trend day down. NQ goes out. We had small price probes, which I'm not using, but a double distribution day down. This is after we had a gap higher, right? ES goes out with a double distribution day down after a gap higher. Now, there's going to be a lot of talk about why the market came in with tariffs and this and that. First off, and a lot of people probably got hurt, and they're going to blame Trump and they're going to blame the news coming out. First of all, that news has been out. Okay, we know he's going to do that. Number two, if you blame anything but yourself for losing money, you better find another profession. I can't stress that more enough. I don't care what you blame. Okay? If you don't blame yourself, you should get out of the business. How about the fact that ES, even though they're up on the daily, and by the way, they did a great job defending yesterday's low to keep the daily up in ES. But how about the fact that we got to a balance high on the 2 longest time frames in ES, monthly and weekly, which you'll see on the charts when we get to them. How about that for a reason why the market rolled over? Balance rules. So instead of blaming Trump, instead of blaming gaps, instead of blaming this, that, learn your balance rules. Most important rules out there. 1,000 times more important than gap and go, more important than trend days, anything. NQ didn't get as close to the day's high, but look where they failed. They failed at the single print fill from January 24th. They took all the energy. Basically, the bulls expended all the energy they had filling that tremendous gap from the 27th. So along with that and the balance high in ES and single prints in NQ, game over for the bulls. Use that as a reason why what happens in the market instead of coming up with reasons. Please. We said it before. Regardless, if Trump tweets or this and that and it's going to move the market, well, you should have your stops in. If you don't, shame on you. Okay? Now, another thing we spoke about, and the reason I left these in ones is to show you the magnitude of how powerful this is. I said earlier today, we look like we might gap higher a bit, right? There you go. Here's ES's opening. Gap. Here's NQ's opening. Gap. I said if they don't hold the gap, and number one, get acceptance into M's range, and number two, gets acceptance into value, what's going to happen? The odds. We're going to trade M's range. M's range was almost the entire day yesterday in ES and NQ. Now, when we gapped higher, got the overnight high, went trend up, got the IB high, did I expect that to happen? Not in a million years. But you're dealing with fickle, fragile traders that turn on a dime. Uneducated traders and mindless machines. I'm going to write a book about that. It's a great title for a book. Uneducated traders and mindless machines. There's no loyalty. I would give my right arm to trade against long-term sticky money every day than to this. The market was incredibly accommodating. A, B, C, D. Okay? Even in F when it pulled back. It took back the trend day. I'm like, hey, that's a great afternoon pullback. And we're going back up. And failed again at the balance high. And failed again to try to get the single prints. And then they rolled over. Okay? What happened when we got into M's range? Look at this. Traded the entire thing. This is a $5 time frame. Even NQ. Fill the gap. Start trading in M's range. Almost traded the entire thing. So do not ever ignore these little nuances we talk about. When you don't get to a POC, when you get into M's range, it's much more important the day after than the day that it occurred, right? Like yesterday. These are incredible things to be focused on. I had a good day. Early from the long side, late from the short side. Okay? I took a long in A period to get the overnight high. By the way, the market was 100% long overnight and never had an inventory adjustment in A. Never had an inventory adjustment period. Old business gets taken care of early. So nobody wanted to get out of old business. They got out higher, of course, but they didn't have an inventory adjustment. Okay? So I took the long to get the overnight high, my staple play, and then I bought ebb and flow longs because you had value, you had gap, you had indices, and you had the overnight high. Now, another thing before I go on, and this is very rare, my checklist sheet that I talk about. The Bulls and NQ each had a 10-0 lead on it, as good as it can get. It ended up 5-4 Bears. That's extremely rare to have that kind of turnaround. But we did. So early on, I was looking for nothing but longs, and I got them in A. Early on, I was looking for nothing but longs in B. Got them. Got the one-time framing, had ebb and flow. We had a lowest accepted price to start B period, and we ended up going trend. C period, same thing, looking for longs. Got it. IB high and ebb and flow against single prints. D period, I took the long when NQ filled their first set of single prints and got paid. E period, took the long against the 144 inside of the single prints in B and got paid. F period, took the long saying, okay, they took back the trend day, but they're still up indice-wise strong. Value, overnight high, IB high, that's a great afternoon pullback. Got paid very nicely on that one in F. Now, I did take a loss in H against F's low. I'm like, well, we have a wide POC, so let's see if F holds, and then we had a very nice buy tail. Now, I didn't stick around in it. Lost about 20 points. And then, once we started eating the buy tail, I went neutral for the most part, even though the Bulls were in control. Another thing I want to point out. We always talk about when the market moves, but POC can't get lowered or raised. Well, POC was raised a couple of times today. Now, again, it's much more visual and important if the POC's 9 wide or more. ES is only 6, and NQ is only 7. However, that's still not something to ignore going forward, because we could have gone down 1,000 points and the POC couldn't get lowered. So don't be surprised if these fickle, fragile traders give this up in the near future and go back to that. Okay? So I lost on that trade in H. But then I was like, okay, things changed. So what did I do? Started shorting. I didn't do anything in I yet. I shorted J for the ebb and flow. I shorted K to get the overnight low in the ebb and flow. And I even took one in M. So it turned out to be a very good day, even though MGI got turned on its head, okay, with everything that went on. Now, I know I went through a lot of different things quickly here because I don't want the video to be that long. So maybe you listen to it again and realize why the market might have gone down instead of the tariffs. Listen to it as to why the market might have gone down because of the balance high and the single prints that couldn't get filled. That should have been a no-brainer for the bulls to fill. Look why I was longing A through F and then changed when the market changed. Okay? I'll give you the destinations quickly, but then I want to get to the charts. Since I have them in ones, I'll give them. So 47.75 is this weekly high. Look how close we are to the all-time high, the yearly high and the all-time high. Single prints. First one is at one tick, 18 and a quarter in the S. Second one is 14.75 to 07. And then you have today's low of 57.75. 5 ticks above yesterday's low. SPY. Today's high is 609.96. SPY missed its all-time high by 82 cents. All right? Single prints, 607.04 to 6. And 605.91 to 606.69. And today's low of 601.05. Another thing, this was our third largest range of the year. So we had some pretty good ranges this month. However, our volume sucks. Okay, today's volume, even with this kind of move, 65 million. It's going to be the third highest volume of the year so far. That's not saying much. Our highest volume this year is 73 million. And then before I get to the charts, one other thing. I do that checklist sheet. So since the month's over, let's recap. Out of 20 trading days, the Bulls won 10 of them, the Bears 9, and we had one tie in ES. In NQ, though, the Bulls won 9 days, the Bears won 11. So a little different there. So there's a lot of give and take. Okay? Now, let's go to these charts because even though the Fed is done, half the big tech earnings are out, there's still a lot of uncertainty. So let's start with the Russell, our little one. The Russell is down for me on the monthly, okay? We were up 3 months ago, finally. Last month went from up to balance with the inside month. And then this month took those both out, so I'm calling it down. So for them to come back to balance to me, we need to take out this month's high, even though they're back inside of the previous 2 months. Now, some people might call this a 3-month balance. Again, I don't have a problem with that. It's objective, it's subjective, whatever you want to, how you want to see it. But for now, I'm calling the monthly down in IWM. The weekly is balance. Okay? Last week only put the market into balance. This week took out last week's low. So this is balance. What is our balance? Well, since we never went up, the balance is, for me, last week's high is the high of the balance, and the week before that is the low of the balance. So in the Russell, the monthly is down, the weekly is balance, and the daily is balance. That's all it is. Now, I'm not counting these 2 days. This is my balance low. So again, we took out yesterday's high, which almost had a chance to take out the balance high, but it didn't. And then we end with an outside day down. So for me, the market is in a 9-day balance. So the monthly down and the weekly and the daily are balanced in the Russell. Let's go to NQ. It's a 2-month balance as the month ends. We didn't get too much into November. So I'm calling it a 2-month balance. So what does that mean? It means if we take out this month's low, I'll be down on the monthly. That's what it would mean. If we take out last month's high, we'd be up. Okay? So the market, as you can see, look what we've been doing. The market's gone up, balance, up, balance, up, balance, up, balance. We haven't come out of this once to what? Bear. Not yet. We've done nothing but go up, balance, back to up. So we'll see in February how it plays out. So the monthly is a 2-month balance. The weekly is a big balance. Okay? So 3, 6, 9 weeks. Basically your 2 months. It's balance. Do you think this market needs more MGI? And the daily is up. The daily is up one time frame and up 4 days. Okay, so we have balance on the monthly and weekly in the NQ and up on the daily. Now let's go to the S&P. The monthly is a 3-month balance. We got into November pretty good. So November's low is my balance low. This month's high is my balance high. However, I thought we had a chance at one point to have an outside month up. Boy, oh boy, did that get slammed. Okay? I mean, it's not a bad... we had 2 really good weeks in a row, and now this week we closed down about $6. So nothing bad. So the dream of an outside month up obviously went out the window when the market absolutely crapped the bed all afternoon. So we have a 3-month balance. The weekly, also a very big balance. That's all it is. Okay? Our 200-day moving average is at the 459. We still haven't seen it. Okay? Oh, no, it's not. This is the weekly. I'll show you what it is in a minute. This is the weekly. Forget that. I just used the daily. So the monthly is a 3-month balance. The weekly is balanced. And the daily is up. One time frame and up 4 days. We've used all our energy to fill that huge gap from Monday. So between the energy used on that and the balance high on the monthly and weekly, ES and NQ basically ran out of steam and rolled over. Okay? Now, one other thing, because this is important. Let's go to ES, SPY, especially on the weekly. I said they hit the balance high, okay? Or close to it. So the balance high is 610.78. The balance low is 575.35. So is there cause for concern yet? Absolutely not. However, if we go and take out this week's low, and the daily goes from up to balance, and then from balance to down, then you do have to worry about failing at the balance high of 611 and rolling back over to test the balance low of 575. So these are all the things we're going to keep an eye on. Okay? I hope that all helps. I hope you had a good day and a good week trading. I understand this is longer than usual, but I hadn't recapped in a while. And I hope these little nuances we talk about and everything else helps to make you a better trader. Come check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Have a great weekend, and we will speak prior to the opening on Monday.